Welcome to StoryUp. This is a long-form space for honest conversations about stories. The ones we live inside, the ones we carry for years, and the ones that continue shaping us even after they become books. I'm Dr. Marina Rivera, founder of Full Circle Press. I work closely with authors at many stages of their story's life, before a story is written, while it's being shaped, and after it's released into the world. StoryUp exists because I believe that stories don't begin or end with a book. They shape how we see ourselves, how we make meaning, and how we move through the world, often long before they're written and long after they're shared. Here, I reflect on what it means to steward stories with care, responsibility, faith, and discernment, sometimes on my own and sometimes in conversations with authors whose stories are already out in the world. If you're holding a story that matters or living with the one that's still unfolding, you're in the right place. Hello, everybody. Today I want to say something that might feel slightly uncomfortable at first, and it's actually something that I spoke on in the last video, but I kind of I walked through it quickly. So I want to slow it down a little bit here and kind of sit in this moment a little bit more. And so if you stay with me here, I do think that it could completely change how you approach your book. And this is what I want to say. You don't need more time to write your book. You need a container. So most aspiring authors are really waiting for what I would call a time miracle, right? Like a lighter season, a clearer calendar, a quieter house, a less demanding job, a future version of life that somehow opens up and then hands them a perfectly uninterrupted writing schedule. But that season almost never arrives and certainly isn't going to arrive on its own. And I've coached enough authors at this point to see the pattern. And it's that the ones who finish their books are not the ones with the most time. They're the ones with the most structure and the most support. So they have a container for the work. And again, I alluded to this, or I spoke on this briefly in the last video, but I want to break down exactly what I mean here by container. So a writing container is not just a time block, and it's not just a write when I can or Saturday mornings if nothing else comes up. But a container actually has a number of important features to it. So a container is going to have structure. It's going to have accountability and guidance and feedback and deadlines and conversation and coaching and witness. So it's all these things put together that holds the work so that the work doesn't just like leak out of your life because life is busy. I think that without a container, writing a book becomes very like emotional weather. So like you write when you feel inspired, but then you're going to avoid it when it feels uncertain, and you're going to research instead of drafting, and you're going to outline instead of actually committing, and you're going to edit things instead of finishing the draft. You're going to edit the first 10 pages and never get to page 11. So it might feel busy, but it's not going to move you forward. And I think this is part of the reason why I meet so many people who have started a book, but their book hasn't made it to completed manuscript draft, let alone like finished book in your hand. And I think that I see this especially with like thoughtful, faith-driven authors, because these are people I work with and they care deeply about their message. And so you want to get it right? And you really feel the weight of this calling. But calling without the container, I think, can often turn into delay. And again, and I said this last video as well, but I just want to double down on it. I don't think this is because you're being disobedient to the call. I think it's because you're being unsupported. And I want to give you a very simple picture. So I want you to think about the difference between I should get in shape someday versus I meet my trainer every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 a.m. So in both of these scenarios, there is the same desire, but there's a different container. And I think with a different container, you are going to yield different outcomes. And I think the books work the same way. So I want to write a book as a wish, but I meet with my writing coach twice a month and submit pages every month is a container. And when you think about this container, I think there's another truth about book writing that most people they don't say it out loud. And I don't know why, but I think it's because at some point we just bought into this idea that this book, if God gave it to us, we're supposed to like have everything we need to get it done. But I think that writing alone can be very emotionally expensive, because when you're writing alone, you're going to second guess things more, you're going to stall more, you're going to spiral more, and you're going to quit more quietly. Let me say this. When I say writing alone, I want to make a disclaimer here. I do believe that even if you're alone in your writing space, if you are a person of faith, you're not ever really alone. I know that we have God with us. I know we have his spirit with us. The Holy Spirit is with us through the process. I mean, writing alone without any other like human community, right? But when someone is walking with you, I do believe that clarity can come faster and your courage to keep going can last longer. Because inside of a real writing container, you're not asking like, what should I work on today? You begin to ask like, which part am I finishing today? Or which part am I moving forward today? And that's a completely different energy. And I do believe it leads to different outcomes. So I want to pause here too. And I do want to speak to something that I believe in like with everything in me is, if God gave you the assignment, he also intends provision for the completion. And provision doesn't always look like free time. Sometimes provision looks like support. It looks like coaching. It looks like community. It looks like structure. It looks like investment, partnership. Obedience is not, I don't believe it's meant to be isolated or isolating. And when authors enter a real coaching container, like whether they're signing on to work with me or another author coach out there, there's a lot of great author coaches out there. But what I do see with my clients is I see three things happen quickly. First of all, I see confusion drops. It's like all of this chaos and confusion, and I've searched the internet and there's all these things out there, like it can just kind of drop away, in part because they know what their next right step is. Second, momentum builds because small changes, small faithful writing sessions begin to turn into chapters, and then they send those chapters to me, and then I'm putting it in a manuscript framework. And like, there's usually this moment where they show up at a coaching session with like tears in their eyes. They're like, "Oh my goodness, it's looking like a book now." I love those moments. They're always special to me because it's like this visible. It's like this visible manifestation of something that I know they've held in their heart for a long time. And I don't know. I think those moments are beautiful. And so along with this momentum building, also, I see confidence growing because someone is reflecting their work back to them. I had an author tell me the other day, she's like, Marina, she was like, I knew I could only take this project so far. And she's like, what you do when I send you drafts and what you reflect back to me and the way you can put my ideas together, she's like, it's been so amazing in that it has like instilled in me the confidence that like I can do this, we can do this together, and like we're going to get across the finish line. But I want to make something clear. Like, a container doesn't make the writing easy, but I do believe that it makes finishing possible. And those are not the same thing. And so if you've been telling yourself, I just need more time, I would want you to test a better question. And I would want you to ask yourself, like, what support do I need? Because finished authors are not superhuman. Nobody is getting a gold star for, like toughing it out alone, especially in this era. Let me just speak as a woman. Like, we carry so much. Like, I don't need a gold star for proving to myself that I can do something without support. I need that exhale that comes when I realize like I'm not in this alone, whatever this is. So if you feel like if your book has been circling your life for more than a year, if you keep outlining but not actually drafting, if you feel called but stuck, like I said earlier, it might not be a discipline problem. It might be a container problem. And if this is landing, here is your next step. I invite you to have a conversation with me. You can find me at fullcirclepress.org. Any of the buttons, the book of call buttons, go right to my calendar. But if you don't have a conversation with me, have a conversation with somebody. That's what I really want for you. If you do talk with me, like, no pressure. I'm not going to like ambush you with a pitch. I'm not going to like try to lock you into something that doesn't feel right to you. But I would like to help you get clarity on if you're stuck, why you're stuck, and what the next step forward might be. One of the things there are a few things I love to do in these clarity calls is I love to talk about like where your book really is, what's blocking that forward motion, what kind of container would actually help, because I believe that every author is individual. Like just as we are all individuals, like we're not all going to need the exact same containers. But like what container would actually help, and even whether like help you get clarity on whether author coaching is the right fit. It's not the right fit for everybody. And so getting that clarity even before you jump into anything, whether it's with me or with somebody else, I think is valuable. And if author coaching is the right fit, I'll tell you. If I feel like Full Circle Press is the right fit for you, I will tell you, like it has to be a mutually good fit. But if it isn't, I'll tell you that too, and that could save you a lot of time as well. But at the end of the day, again, I don't think you need more time. I think you need a structure that holds your calling long enough for it actually to become a book. I would be honored if it is a good fit to help you build it. But more than that, I hope that this helped you get a little bit of clarity and also gave you a little bit of permission to maybe pause on that loop in your head. Like, if I just had more time, if I just had more this, if I just had more that, like maybe you don't need more time. Maybe you just need a more defined container. So that is it. Again, when I'm not here on YouTube and I'm not out walking on the beach or by the river, depending on where I happen to be at any moment in time, you can find me and my team over at fullcirclepress.org. We would be honored to have a conversation with you and honored to just be an encouraging voice as you take this next right step of book writing in faith.